In this video, we're going to talk about reducing fractions. And in this example up here, I've got two different fractions. We've got 4/6 and a picture of what that looks like. So we see we've got 4 parts that are shaded purple out of 6. So the purple part represents 4/6 of the rectangle. And then over here, we've got 2 parts shaded out of 3. So the purple part represents 2/3 of the rectangle. Now, if this was the same candy bar, and we cut it into 3 pieces and ate these 2 pieces, or we cut it into 6 pieces and ate these 4 pieces, we'd be having the same amount of calories. Basically, 2/3 of the candy bar is the same as 4/6 of the candy bar. These two fractions represent equivalent amounts. And so by reducing fractions, what we want to do is, if we have a fraction like 4/6, we want to try to write it basically with the smallest numbers possible. And 2/3 is the same amount as 4/6, and those numbers are smaller than 4 and 6. The 2 is smaller than the 4, and the 3 is smaller than the 6, but don't get confused. 2/3 is not smaller than 4/6. So what we're trying to do is reduce the fraction if we can. Now, how do we know if we can reduce it? Well, you check out the numerator and the denominator, and basically you have to ask yourself, is there any number that will go into both 4 and 6 evenly? You can divide it in there and there's no remainder. What that's called is a factor. A number that goes into another number is called a factor. So if I look at 4, I know 2 times 2 is 4, and I know 2 times 6 is 4. Or excuse me, 2 times 3 is 6. Let me say that again. How about if I write it down? Okay, here we go. We know 2 times 2 is 4, and we know 2 times 3 is 6. So both 2 goes into both 4 and 6. So that's my common factor right there, 2. So in order to reduce this fraction, what I would have to do is divide both 4 and 6 by 2. And if I do that, 4 divided by 2 gives me 2, and 6 divided by 2 gives me 3, and I end up with 2/3, which is the reduced version of 4/6. Alright, let's look at another example here. Let's see if I can clear this. Select all, and okay. So let's go through a couple examples here. Let's say I've got the fraction 9/15. Alright, so we got to ask ourselves, are there any numbers that go into both 9 and 15? Well, 9 is 3 times 3, 15 is 3 times 5. So 3 goes into both 9 and 15. So what we're going to do, basically, is we're going to divide both 9 and 15 by 3. And if I do that, 9 divided by 3 is 3, and 15 divided by 3 is 5. So I come up with this fraction, 3/5, which is the reduced version of 9/15. Again, these two fractions, 9/15 and 3/5, they're equal to each other. They're equivalent. They have the same value. Cut something into 15 pieces and eat 9. Take that same exact thing, cut it in 5 pieces and eat 3. You're eating the same amount of whatever it is you're eating. But this is a much more concise way to say how much you ate. 3/5 of the pizza instead of 9/15. Or you want to share 3/5 of something you have. You're not going to say you're going to share 9/15. You share 3/5 of it. Alright, let's look at another example. Let's do, how about 15 over 35. Now, as you can see, it's going to be really helpful if you know your multiplication tables. If you look at a number like 35 and 15 and you see they both end in 5, so 5 goes into both those numbers, that's going to be really helpful when you're reducing fractions, is knowing your multiplication tables. So we're going to divide both these by 5. And let's see, what do we end up with? 15 divided by 5 is 3. 35 divided by 5 is 7. So we end up with 3/7. as a reduced version of 15/35. Alright, what if I have, how about I'll put one up here, 21/28. Now if you want to, you could pause the video right now and work it out on your paper and see, and then start it again once you have the answer. Alright, so 21 and 28. 7 goes into both those. So I'm going to divide both those by 7. Now as you get good at this, you might not have to write this part, divide 7, but while you're first starting, it's kind of a good idea to write that down to remind yourself how you're getting your answers in case you go back and look at this tomorrow and you ask yourself, how did I reduce those fractions? If you have this written down, you'll remember. Alright, hopefully you got 3/4 there for that one.